different scenario. I think there was this is a cubist view of this. Yeah, here it is. Here's the decubitous view, which should be right side down. We should just look at it this way. So there's the decubitus. Remember, a cubitus is a frontal view, patient laying on their side. So it's just this view essentially, we just lay them down on their side. That'd be a right lateral, left lateral. Horizontal beam frontal, patient in a decubitus position. So look on this PA view. Looks like an elevated diaphragm, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like an elevated hemidiaphragm. What's actually happening is an atypical pleural effusion. In some people, the fluid doesn't just accumulate in the costophrenic angle the way it would normally. Like that one over there, just starts filling up the costophrenic angle, you get a meniscus. Sometimes what happens is the fluid accumulates over the diaphragm, under the lung base, and it lifts the lung base symmetrically off the diaphragm.
And that's similar to what we saw with a pneumoperitoneum, only over here you don't have that, and
Right.
that's why you don't see it.
Yep. In fact, we have one in either the A or the B labs that has it with a pneumoperitoneum, which makes it really easy to see it then. It shifts though. You see how the apparent dome of the diaphragm is shifted lateral? Because it kind of goes up and then looks like it would come down this way. That's not the typical way a diaphragm presents. The high point's usually at the midline, but it looks like it goes up and then goes down toward the midline. So somewhere down here is where the diaphragm is, and then here's the lung base, and this is all liquid. It's what we call an atypical pleural effusion. And we don't know why some people do that. Why do some people accumulate fluid with that kind of a pattern? They just do. Most people do it like that. Just puddles in the costophrenic angle and starts coming up. This happens very symmetrically over the diaphragm and just lifts the lung base off the diaphragm. And it looks like they still have a costophrenic angle over there. If we looked on the posterior, it would look like they had a posterior costophrenic angle. It's a very strange pleural effusion. And when you lay them down, look what it did. Then it layers out along the chest wall. And if we stand them up again, it goes back down like this, over the diaphragm, lifts the lung base up off the diaphragm. Why it does that, I have no idea. But it only does it in a very small percentage of people. But it's an atypical pleural effusion. It's called subpulmonic, under the lung, or infrapulmonic pleural effusion. Just lifts it up. Now, when it does it on the left side, if you've got a good gastric air bubble, then it's easy to see it because you should have a gastric air bubble and the diaphragm should be sitting right there with the lung right on top of it. If you have a gastric air bubble and the diaphragm looks like it's up here, it's much easier to be suspicious of it on the left side. But here we've got nothing. You know, you got liver, liquid, everything's silhouetted, diaphragm, so it just looks like an elevated hemidiaphragm. So it mimics an elevated hemidiaphragm. Subpulmonic effusion.
Sorry, it's okay.
All right.